Hi, welcome to the next episode of Breakthroughs Before Breakfast. My name is Swaine. I'm the owner and lead trainer of Frontier Trainings. We teach you powerful business lessons all around the world. If you want to find out more about why it's called Breakthroughs Before Breakfast, go all the way back to the first episode. In there I describe it in detail. So the lesson we want to cover today is this concept called barriers to entry. Barriers to entry. How easy is it for someone to enter your industry? Why is that important? Well, if we have a look, if we're in a business where it's very easy for lots of people to come in, then our market will be swamped. A great example of that would be the coaching industry. Going back in time, very few people were actually business coaches. In fact, they were business consultants. Then over time, business coaching came out, and then life coaching came out, and then lots and lots of people became life coaches. I realized the industry was in trouble when I met this lady, and she was broke, she was sick, and she was in a dysfunctional relationship. When I asked her, what do you do? She said, I'm a life coach. And I'm like, if this lady can be a life coach, how to coach people how to be successful, the market is saturated. At one point in America, especially around 2005, 2006, there was a huge amount of real estate agents. The joke went like this. 1/3 of California are real estate agents, 1/4 are mortgage brokers, and everybody else is an investor. Because the market was going up so fast, so many people getting in the market. At that point there, when the market is saturated, you really got to consider how you're going to be able to survive because there's just so many people competing. So barriers to entry. If you want to open an airline, there are many barriers to entry. Simply being able to get access to gates, being able to buy your planes, costs a huge amount of capital to get involved. But it's very important for us to consider the barriers to entry because at one point there was a company that thought they were secure because they had big barriers to entry. And you probably know the industry, it's the taxi industry. The taxi industry in some places like New York City costs almost $1 million to buy a license for the right to operate a taxi. $1 million just for the right for the taxi driver to drive around in their car, pick people up. That seemed to be a massive barrier to entry because who else is going to be able to come into the marketplace, drop down massive millions of dollars simply to have taxis on the road? And then what happened? Boom, Uber. Uber came along and innovated. What do they do? A couple of key changes. GPSs. So a GPS is where you can have someone who can barely read, punch in the starting location, the finishing location, map it out, and all they have to do is be able to drive a car, and now they're qualified to be an Uber driver. And how much do they have to pay to get that license? Nothing. Because they skirted around the rules of the taxi industry by avoiding all those license fees by having all these drivers there. Now, does that cause controversy? Enormous controversy. I was in an Uber one time and I said to the driver, how long have you been driving for Uber for? He goes, oh, about a year. I said, what were you doing before? He said, I own my own taxi company. Ooh, ouch. I said, what happened? He said, it took me 10 years to build up to have 120 taxi drivers working for him. Uber came out with 1 year, lost his entire business, he became an Uber driver. And this is in London. And these are London drivers who would drive the black cabs. See, back in the early days, a black cab driver had to do what's called the knowledge. They had to know all the streets before they could sit a test to pass to become a black taxi driver. So imagine you actually spend all this time learning all these streets, years and years of training. Finally, you get out there, and the next week, Uber comes out, and a guy who's never done any of your work is now out there with a GPS doing exactly what you do, if not as fast as you. So barriers to entry. What types of things can there be that make barriers to entry harder to overcome? Technology is a big one. When someone's invested a lot of money in infrastructure, upfront costs, research and development, that makes it much harder for someone else to come in and catch up. So in my company, Frontier Trainings, I'll spend 13 years designing over 200 different games and material. For someone else to walk in, they may replicate 1 or 2, even 3 or 4 of the games. But it'll take a long time for someone to be able to catch up with all that intellectual property that I've got to be able to get to where I am. And the challenge with that is, by the time they catch up, I'm still moving ahead at a high pace. What barriers of entry have you got in your industry? Where have you invested money? Where have you got protected IP? What have you got now? So in a moment, I'm going to get you to pause the video and write down what are at least 5 barriers to entry you may have. And if you don't have any, that alone says a lot. What 5 things have you got that would be hard for someone to be able to come in the industry from scratch and catch up to where you are now? So right now, write down those 5 key things and pause the video now. Okay, how'd you go? Did you get 5? Did you get 10? Did you only find 1? See, the challenge here was the taxi drivers thought they had a huge barrier to entry, but in reality, that disappeared. And those companies that come in, the disruptors, disrupting the industry, are making these barriers of entry disappear. What we thought were these big, valuable assets are suddenly becoming cumbersome, slowing us down, inhibiting us, giving us a false sense of belief. So barriers to entry. Have a look at what you can do to build up your asset base, build up your credibility, build up those barriers that make it hard for someone else to enter your industry. Because if you don't, then very quickly anyone else can come in, knock it off, and all the work you've done can disappear. As there are many, many, many companies struggling right now. If you'd like to find out more about this principle or the course we're doing right now, which is called Business Brilliance, you go to the website frontiertrainings.com. All the information is on there. If you'd like to have 3 days of amazing world-class training, currently it's free. It may not be by the time you check this video. But if you want to come along and have 3-day world-class training about personal development and business growth, go online to PTW, stands for Play to Win. Go to ptw.com, and if you go on there, you can find out all the amazing information about that course and what a massive difference it can make for you and your business. So my name is Swaine, and this is the end of Breakfast Before Breakfast. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.